My Lords, first oral question, Lord Moylan.
My Lords, I beg leave to ask the question standing my name on the order paper.
My Lords, passengers and the taxpayer cannot afford to wait until we have established Great British Railways. We have therefore taken the immediate step of establishing shadow Great British Railways and to appoint Laura Schoaf by a direct ministerial appointment in accordance with Cabinet Office guidance as its chair. She brings immense hands-on experience of delivering change and a shared desire to move fast and fix things. The future chair of Great British Railways will be appointed through open competition in due course.
My Lords, this question is not about any individual, but will the noble Lord the Minister say how many businesses of the scale of Great British Railways would appoint a chairman without any sort of competition or any opportunity for other people to put themselves forward? And is this a reasonable thing to do?
Yes, it is a reasonable thing to do. This is not the chair of Great British Railways, which will be established after the substantive railway bill in due course. This is an arrangement to bring some benefits to the railway to counter the now 31 years of fragmentation and balkanisation, and in particular to bring together three parts of the already publicly owned railway: the Rail Services Division of the Department of Transport, Network Rail, and directly operated holdings. And it's a very reasonable thing to do, and it will deliver results.
Laura Schoaf has been Chief Executive of West Midlands Combined Authority, and from these benches we're pleased that she brings deep experience of devolution, which we hold dear as one of the solutions to the future of our railways. Passengers, my lords, are impatient to see signs of improvement. So can the noble Lord the Minister assure us that the promise to establish a passenger standards authority will be kept? And will the government also consider establishing that in shadow form so that it can get on with the job of improving standards for passengers as soon as possible?
I thank the noble Baroness for her endorsement of the qualifications of Laura Schoaf. She is indeed well acquainted both with the operation and development of urban transport systems and of devolution. The Passenger Standards Authority will be put together in the substantive railway bill. In the meantime, we have transport focus, and we have had discussion very recently in committee about what can be done in the meantime in the lead up to the substantive bill.
My Lords, can the Minister find time to turn his attention to the HS2 timetable? And in particular, can he tell the House now, in the light of the budget announcements, when the major capital work at Euston Station will be completed?
The Chancellor announced in the autumn budget that the tunnels from Old Oak Common to Euston will be built. It is, of course, necessary to have built the tunnels in order to develop the station. The Government is now turning its attention to how the station should be developed in a cost-effective manner and how it will be funded, and there will be more in due course on that.
I will, a regular rail user, say how grateful we are to the Government for sorting out the chaos of the last 30+ years, where the track, the rail infrastructure, the engines, the operators are all in separate companies. It's been total chaos. And isn't it about time that the man principally responsible, Lord Young, gets up and apologises for the mess that he's provided us with over the last 30+ years?
I should concentrate on the right description of the chaos of the last 30 years. And the railway is not functioning properly. Far too much of the time of everybody concerned with managing the railway is spent on blame attribution, on contractual negotiation, and far too little is spent on delivering a decent service for passengers and freight and making the railway do what it should do for the economy. That's what the government's policy is designed to change.
My Lords, following the privatisation of the railways, in which I played a modest part, decades of decline in passenger traffic was reversed. Once the dead hand of the Treasury was removed from investment, there was fresh investment in new rolling stock, modernising stations. Passenger fares were pegged at RPI -1, a policy reversed by the government, adorned by the noble Lord Fowkes. Passenger safety improved, and we developed a market in train operating companies to replace the monopoly of British Rail. What was not to like about that?
Quite a lot.
Since COVID, the railway has only got 4/5 of its income. The train operating companies are now, in effect, flat contractors to government, and their owners are unable to take much, if any, financial risk. The service to passengers is not as good as it should be, and the government's policy is designed to make that significant change.
Under the last government, we saw a situation where it was cheaper to fly to New York than it was to come from Manchester to Euston. Will he do something about the overpricing of trains to make them more competitive?
The fares on the railway are so complicated that even the people who sell them don't understand them. Some of them look absurdly expensive, some of them are very cheap. It's very possible to sit in a carriage where nearly everybody has paid a different fare for the same journey, and the passengers wholeheartedly dislike it. One of the reasons for public ownership of the railways is to get back the commercial sense into a sensible fares and ticketing system which will attract passengers to the network again.
But my lords, will the noble minister accept that on some occasions it is necessary for the government to appoint people without competitive process, as I did in the case of the noble minister when I appointed him as chairman of Network Rail? I did expect him to be solely the success that he was, and also to bring a political neutrality, which we see today that he carries well in his present role.
Of course, I congratulate the noble lord on his previous appointment, which seemed to last 9 years, so it was you might judge it successful. I think the present appointment will be equally successful as somebody with a very excellent transport background, who understands the politics of and the economics of large conurbations, and will make a real difference to improving the railway in the short term before we get the substantive bill in the longer term.
My Lords, I have a vivid recollection of how inefficient British Rail was, because I was at the bar and appeared against British Rail people on a regular basis. Could I just ask the noble Lord the Minister and his department to check on what British Rail got up to and do something completely different?
But the British Railways Board was abolished in 1993. The way in which the railway needs to work in the future has to reflect the significant devolution in the country since then, and it's our intention that the railway is run by people who are in control of a significant part of it, what I would describe as a Network Rail route and a train company, where they're in control of the track, the trains and the staff, and deliver a decent service. That's the intention in the future.
My Lords, can I appeal to the softer, gentler, more apolitical side of the noble Lord and accept would not be churlish to congratulate the last government on paying £9 billion during COVID to keep all the trains running and not one railway worker lost their job.
I think everybody on the railway was extremely grateful for the support shown by the government to the railway service at that time, but nevertheless the consequences of COVID have been that the cost of the railway have been almost the same and its revenue is 4/5 of what it was. One of the objectives now is to deliver better value and a better service, and the method of management that I've described will achieve that.